Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 53 of the Former Action Guys podcast, and I'm your host, Justin Kramer. This week, I have my friend Sean O'Brien on. He was a fire support man in the Marine Corps. He did, I think, got out as a sergeant after, roughly 8 years or so. I don't think we ever actually talked about exactly how long he was in. But we talk about his deployments. We talk about what he's doing now. He's a truck driver now, so he talks about some of the CDL stuff that he's gone through and what he's up to now. So yeah, if you're wondering what happens, hey, there's no YouTube video again this week. I've had a technical error. I figured out what it was. I had a wire that had an issue, so I'm hoping next week we should be all good to go. Everything should be good for my next interview. So it sucks too. I got my haircut for the first time in like 2 months. I can't even show it off on the podcast. But such is life. Hey, I do want to say though it's a crazy world out there right now. So everyone just take care of each other, take care of yourselves. Say hi to a stranger, say hi to a neighbor, and just be good to each other. So enjoy the podcast and stay safe out there. Okay. Yeah, so like I was saying, thanks for taking time out from being on the road. Fucking sit down and do the interview. So today on the podcast, I got Sean O'Brien. He was we worked together at First ANGLICO, but we also served around the same time frame at 10th Marines. And I don't have enough people come on that were from 10th Marines. I don't know if you remember Nate Garnes. He was only in 10th Marines for a little bit. He was on. Yeah. And then who else did I have on? We had freaking
old Raby.
Yeah, he was on.
Danny.
I didn't know him at 10th Marines. Did you?
Yeah, we did a UDP together.
Oh, okay.
Great dude.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't have enough. Most of the guys I have come on are First ANGLICO dudes or ANGLICO guys in general, and now I've had a few of my recon buddies come on the show and stuff like that. So it's good to have someone that was also at 10th Marines that can talk a little bit of the East Coast, because people on the West Coast don't realize how spoiled they are with like training areas and stuff like that. When we sit out on OP5 or that wooden tower at OP3,
OP3, yep.
And they're creaking in the wind and stuff.
Used to do boot races up there.
Yeah.
Had to count each step.
What made you end up decide joining the Marine Corps?
Actually, one of my buddies that I was cool with in high school, he came back from boot camp and he was all like, "Oh, jarhead this, jarhead that," and I really had no intentions of going to college. So I was like, he was like, "Yeah, if you join, it'll get me promoted faster." I was like, "Heck yeah, dude!" So I went in and it was like a day. Yeah, I went in, and then the recruiter was like, "Yeah, I'll be over at your house later." It's like, shit. Got home, my recruiter was already there. I was like, fuck. My dad was like,
"What did I do?"
My dad was like, "You know this guy?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's the recruiter from the Marine Corps." He's like, "Where do I sign?" It was
really?
that easy. Yeah.
Dad was like, trying to get you out, man.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, man, this is so good of you. I'm so proud of you." And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah,
jumped right on it. What MOS did your buddy do?
He was like an ammo tech or something.
Okay.
And then he picked up sergeant and went grunt.
Yeah. So he lat moved into the infantry, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't see that very often. I don't know if I would do that.
He's still in now. You remember Sierra?
Yeah.
They did like some McMap shit together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's still in doing all that jazz.
That's cool, man. That's cool. And then when you came in, did you decide to be an 0861, or did you just fall upon that? Were you like open contract and that's what you got?
I did my ASVAB and I was like, yeah, I want to go be a grunt. And my recruiter was like, "Nah, we don't got no spots open for that." He was like, "What do you want to do?" I was
Standard message.
I was like, "Yeah." I was like, I just want to go do like Marine stuff. He was like, "Well, I got this ground combat option that you could put in for." And I was like, "Sure, do that." And he was like, "You could be an artillery, like a cannoneer. You could work in the FSC, or you could be an observer. And those dudes are real cool." And then I went through all the stuff. And after graduating boot camp, that's when I found out that you're going to go be an 0861. Have fun, bud.
Dude, talking about luck of the draw though, man. Imagine if you would have been like a radar guy.
That was the luckiest draw I could have asked for.
I mean, honestly though, any of the artillery jobs aren't horrible. But there are definitely better. Like being an FO is definitely the best one in my opinion. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
biased obviously, but I don't think any of them are like horrible. You know, we make
yeah.
fun of
I
like
mean,
radar dudes, but they got a pretty chill life. You know, they just kick
yeah.
back.
FSCC, they're just chilling in their little tents and do stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking back on it, I was like, man, dudes on the gun line are getting like messed up like every time they like move. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna go up here and sit on my hill. It's a long walk up there, but once I'm up there, it's just my sergeants messing with me. It's not everybody.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, man. It's a good life though. Being a 6-1 was the best thing. I'm glad I lat moved. You know. So what year did you go to boot camp, and then what year did you hit the fleet?
I went to boot camp in July of '09, and then I hit the fleet like 2010, like January, February
Okay. Okay.
2010.
What unit was your first unit?
1st Battalion, 10th Marines.
Yeah. How'd you
In
like
street boot camp.
N Street? Yeah. And people bitch about N Street and 10th Marines and North Carolina, but I don't know how you felt about it, but I liked it. I
I
liked
loved
it
it.
at 10th Marines.
I loved it. And we were back behind like the CP, like on this little corner
Weren't you guys in the
shithole.
old like storage shed or some kind of old
Yeah,
Seaburn
in
shack or
the
some shit like
stores.
that?
Yeah, it was like a little shed on the behind the CP. Nobody ever messed with us. It was like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, we shared a office space. I was with 210. We shared the office space with our supply guys. So, well, we didn't share the office. We had the same building. Excuse me. We had our own office, but no one really came over there, man. No one messed with us. There was multiple times when I'd call up to the battery gunny or something and be like, "Hey, what time's formation?" And they'd be like, "We're already off. We let everybody go just a little bit ago. Like, where were you guys at?" We're like, "What the fuck, man? We don't know. Like, we're not at the
Yeah,
battalion. I think they've all moved into the battalion headquarters though,
yeah. Ours
which
was like
sucks."
that, except for we'd get in there, we'd PT in the morning, and then we'd come back and like I had the sergeant Trantham, and he used to fuck with us for like hours. But
Hmm.
our staff sergeant was like, "Hey, I already sent up everything, so like whenever you're done with them, you could just let them go. Like I'm gonna stay here all day, but y'all could like go do whatever for all day."
Yeah, yeah.
So
What?
like either really skate or really terrible time.
That name sounds familiar. Trantham? I don't
Yeah,
know.
he, uh, he's no longer with us.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
I
like
did.
right before I got out, he was a little ginger dude.
He
Deployed with
did. He got killed overseas, or he
no,
committed
no, no.
suicide.
Yeah,
That sucks, man.
yeah, that was a hard one.
That sucks. Yeah, I right before I got out, the kid that I roomed with, one of my friends, Matt Robb, he died. He killed himself. I found out. I was in TRS, and someone texted me or called me and told me, and I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, it
You
was
know?
right before I got out. I was still working at the gym, and I got a call. I was on night shift at the gym,
Yeah.
and it was just like this happened, and I
It's
was like,
tough,
oh,
man. It's tough.
the
It's
nature of
that's
the beast.
That's one of those things, and the thing is, you find is it's not just the military that does it. You know what I'm saying? That kills
Oh,
themselves, stuff
absolutely.
like that. It's a general population kind of thing. So we get really upset about any time a military member does it, which we ought to, honestly, obviously.
Mhm.
But I mean, to try to say that we can prevent every one of them, I think is just a lost cause. You know what I'm saying? I think it's
Yeah,
just some people are wired different, and when they're ready to go, man, it's their time. It sucks. It's yeah, it's
it
pretty
sucks,
shitty.
but
Anyway,
choices that they make.
yeah, man. Hate to start it off on a sour note. But
Yeah.
who were some of your other seniors you had over in 110?
Um. Staff Sergeant Smith. Um.
Paul
I had
Smith?
this other.
This is before he was.
No. I never got to serve under him. I just got to watch his ass chewings while we were there. But yeah, no, there wasn't really many. I mean, I had like uh, Corporal Rocker and Corporal Madiag, but they were radio guys.
Yeah.
Really, it was like I don't know if you know Thomas Buseman.
Mm-mm.
He
No.
was a 10th Marine guy, but we all came in together.
Yeah. It was weird.
But
I didn't
yeah,
really meet too many of the other sections. Too many guys from the other sections when I was a 10th Marine, just because we're all spread out and The
Yeah.
liaison sections you would think would do more work together, but they really don't. Every once
Nah,
in a
we're
while.
pretty selfish about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was kind of like being with Assault at ANGLICO. You're doing your own thing.
Mhm.
Sometimes you cross paths or do a little bit of work with one of the other teams, but for the most part, you're just kind of out doing your own thing. Yeah. Um.
That was, that was one of the shittiest times in the Marine Corps for me. It's
What's
whenever me and Hamilton became best friends was whenever 110 deployed and all of us that didn't deploy with 110 got shipped over to 510. And where we had just got through all the boot hazings at 110, now we went to 510 and we had to compete against their boots. So it was like we were
uh.
all clashing,
So you got to the fleet right when they were deploying.
Yeah, a little bit after or a little bit before. So we were like at 110 for like 6 months, and then we chopped over to 510.
Okay. Did you guys get to do anything? I mean, did they tell you when you showed up, like, hey, you're probably not doing the deployment with us?
Yeah, they told us. They made sure day one we knew like y'all aren't going with us.
Yeah,
Like
that
one of y'all
sucks.
might get lucky if one of these guys die, but y'all aren't going with us. So enjoy that. And then they were like, y'all can't even be RBE because there's nobody above you. So y'all are
Oh,
just gonna.
really? They were taking the whole battalion, huh?
Yeah. So we chopped over to 510, and that was just
And
a
that's where
big.
you met Hamilton, or Hamilton came with you to
Yeah,
510?
that's where I met Hamilton.
Okay.
That's where I met Gagnon. That's where I met like all the 510 dudes, and it was like we came in as 110, and we were like, oh crap, like we got to be better than them. And then
Yeah.
they were like, all their NCOs were like, you better not let them like
You gonna let these dudes that just came
outperform
here
you.
fucking outdo you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
we're like
funny.
literally fighting for the hooks, like fighting to call in missions. And if this dude called up one mission, I had to call up a mission that was better than his. So
That's funny.
it was like a big
I
thing.
didn't know
And then
you. Oh, go ahead.
that's when the gun blew up. The Golf Battery's gun blew
Mm,
up,
yeah.
and we were out there for that. So then it just became like all out, like
Yeah,
chill.
that was Bragg 2011. That was March Bragg 2011 when the gun blew up.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
because one of my scouts was calling in that fire mission. It was actually a series. He was calling in a series. It was a second or third volley of the series. I think it was the second volley. The round blew up on that gun in the tube.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's pretty wild. Crazy stuff. I didn't know you knew those guys for that long. I knew you knew Hamilton since like way back, but I didn't know you knew I didn't know
Yeah.
Gagnon and all of them. See, I didn't meet any of those guys until I was at Regiment when I had come
Yeah.
back from my deployment and met them at Regiment. Yeah.
Kurt and Josh were like best friends, like roommates and everything. So we pretty much hung out every weekend, every day,
Yeah.
all the time. They're
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you're chopping first. Like, where are you going?" I was like, "First Anglico." And they were like, "We're gonna see what we could do about getting out to California." And then all of us ended up in the same area.
Yeah, it's funny.
So that was pretty,
You were gonna get
pretty dope.
did you know Lindbergh? Did you know Staff
Nah,
Sergeant Lindbergh that was at 10th Marines?
I, I, I would recognize him if I seen his face maybe, but the name doesn't ring bells to me.
I think he was like more with I think he was with 310 most of the time, but he was deployed so much he was never there.
Yeah,
He was the one that was supposed to. I got his orders. He decided to get out. He was like a lot of staff sergeant 0861s. They're kind
yeah.
of like this kind of sucks now. I'm gone all the time. So he decided to get out, and that's how I ended up getting orders out to Anglico. But before that,
Thank
that's
you.
when I got to work with Gagnon and all them, over at Regiment. So how
Yeah,
long? So you guys all chopped the 510. And then you went to Bragg. Obviously, you went to Bragg in March of 11. Was that like after that? Is that when you guys started doing your workup? Because that's when we were. That was like our final exercise before we went and chopped the 3.6 for our deployment.
yeah. That Bragg field op was supposed to be like where the 510, like the Lieutenant Hazelton,
Okay.
Lord Hazelton was kind of making up like the deployment roster for 1-6.
Yeah.
And he was just like, some of y'all are going to go on this deployment and some of y'all aren't. Like, impress me. And then the gun blew up. So then we had to go do a backyard shoot. And then we were out there just going at it. And then he was
Yeah.
like, all right, well, this is what it's going to be. This is the team, or this is the guys we're sending out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was me, uh, Corporal Doggenbaugh at the time, Hamilton, Otto, and a couple other people, and we were just like, "This is it. We're the varsity team now."
How butthurt was fucking Kurt?
Dude, Kurt, I think Kurt was working up for a Mew, and he was like rubbing it in our faces. And then we came back from the field op, found out that we were deploying, and we were like, "Hey, Kurt, we're deploying."
We're going to
He was like,
Afghanistan,
"Fuck
homie.
you guys, fuck you!" Like he was
Yeah,
like,
no,
"I'm
it's
I'm
good
gonna be
people.
saltier than y'all. I'm gonna be saltier than y'all. Y'all are gonna have to listen to me when I get back." And then me and Ham were like, "We're going combat, bro. Catch you on the flip side."
Yeah, isn't it funny how you fight to get into something like that? When most people would be like, "No way, I wouldn't want to go to." If you had a choice between Afghanistan and the Mew, I'd definitely do Afghanistan again over the Mew. Knowing both, even before
Yeah,
knowing both, I probably
I
would have.
never got a Mew. And anytime that they were like, "You're going on your name is in a hat for a Mew," I was like, just take it out. I don't even want to go experience that.
Yeah. I mean, out on the East Coast, man, I always heard guys talking about going to Europe and enjoying like Israel and going to all these cool places. They're all in like Greece and stuff like that, Italy, and I'm like, dude, that sounds fucking sick. And then after I had gone to Iraq once and Afghanistan once, I was like, dude, I'd totally, I'd go on a Mew now,
Yeah, it'd be
try
nice.
something
Booze
different.
cruise.
Yeah, booze cruise. That's what I was hoping for when I got orders out to first Anglico, and they said I was going on the Mew. I was like, maybe it'll be a booze cruise. I was like, I don't want to deploy right after getting home, but maybe it'll be a booze cruise, and it was not.
Yeah.
Luckily, we got off, and our guys. I think I've said it before, but our ship had we got off, and they stayed on ship for 115 days straight of fucking no land,
See,
man.
that's my luck.
That's
my luck.
so
like,
lucky
you want to
we
go
got
on a
off.
Mew or you want to go to your UDP? And I was like, "Yo, send me on a UDP."
Yeah.
Went over there, and it was during the height of the lockdown, and like all Ken Town like shut down. Like,
Yeah, I've never been out there, man. Everybody talks about Oki. I wish I would have had an opportunity to at least, go for a week or something.
I was there for 6 months, and
Did you go to
it was so
Korea or
much
anything
fun.
from there?
Nah, I mean, we went to Ojojiharo, which is a place on mainland Japan for a training op, but it was like 10 feet of snow.
Oh, really?
Couldn't see anything, and the Japanese army had like set up an igloo out front of the OP,
Yeah.
and they were like out there doing literal math problems to see where the round impacted because there was so much snow. We didn't see where the round impacted.
Yeah.
Like, you'd get lucky if you'd see like a little poof.
That's funny. Jeez.
And they're out there like doing math, like, that one came close to the safety box. They're like, oh shit, I didn't even see that one.
Yeah. Just blowing
Yeah.
piles of snow around everywhere.
Yes.
So anyway, back to when you guys chopped to 1-6, like what was your like feelings? Like, oh shit, man, I'm about to, like, it's about to be real,
Bro, honestly, I was super scared. And like, I was like, we got there and they're like, "Who are you?" And it was me and Ham, and we were supposed to check into our company.
Yeah.
We go up there and we're like, he was like, "Who are y'all?" I was like, Ham was like, "We're the FOs. We're here from 10th Marines." Like, super, like, right out of a movie type shit. And then the dude was like, "Yeah, well, just fucking put your shit down and go do what they're doing." So we're all out there running like retards, hanging out. Yeah, and then we go to 29 Palms for the workup, and like, Ham gets taken to another section. So Ham goes to another company, and I'm in Alpha Company by myself, and I'm like, crap. And they're like, "Yeah, you're racking over here with these guys." And I go to the back of like the little can,
Mm-hmm.
and it was all like the sergeants and the corporals of like the unit. They're like, "Why are you back here?"
Yeah.
Like, I don't know,
They
man.
just told me to come.
They told me to come here.
He does what
and then
he's
I
told.
lay down. I like lay down and pretend to fall asleep. And they're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" "Oh, he's a FO." "Oh, he ain't gonna do shit over here." Like, fuck, they hate me already.
Yeah, I mean, attachments, man. It's another one of those. That's the life of the attachment. You're always having to be like, "Hey, I'm not a douchebag. What's up?" Like, I'm the new guy.
Yeah.
Hey, but I'm a cool guy. It's
We
cool. I know what I'm doing.
ended up getting into country, and like, nobody wanted to take me with them. So they were like, "Yeah, you're gonna like operate the G boss."
Oh,
So for
really?
12 hours a day, I was sitting there like circling with the G boss, just
No way,
yeah.
dude.
Like, they were
That
sending
sucks.
patrols out. I hit my JTAC up, Lieutenant Ballard. I was like, "Hey, sir, like, think they can put me on a patrol or something?" They're like, "Man, I've tried to get you out there," but they're like, "No." So I
Huh?
was like, all right, well, I'll just keep with my G boss.
Who?
And that
So,
happened for like
oh, go ahead.
2 months. That was like 2 months of just G boss, 12-hour shifts,
Yeah,
all during the night. So I couldn't even sleep during the day because it was still like 130 and we didn't have any AC.
yeah. I
I
know
was
how
like,
that goes, man. That shit sucks.
yeah,
Starts to drive you crazy after a while.
yeah.
So you were with Alpha. Ham was with Charlie, right?
He was with Charlie. Yep.
So I was out with 3-6 at the same time, like I mentioned before, and we had Charlie 1-6 attached to us. So I think didn't
Mhm.
your battalion fly in, and all three companies got split up to go support different battalions?
I think it was something like that, but I think like the reason why Charlie got sent over to y'all was because like their COs like Vic hit an IED.
Hmm.
So like
Well, no,
they're like
that was like the first week that they were there. That
yeah, it was like
happened. That
as
they had
soon as
already
we hit.
attached to us when that happened. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I only heard like them talking about it in the CP and like when you get back you really don't talk about it. But,
Yeah, that so what happened with that was is they got there, they moved up to the area is called KES.
mhm.
I can't remember what it stands for, but it's like the northern part of Marja.
Mhm.
And the company commander, yeah, he hit an IED, got pretty injured. I don't know exactly what happened to him, but I know he got medevaced out and he didn't come back. And
Yeah.
then that like within a week of that, we had three guys get killed, two corpsmen and one Marine from Charlie 1-6. All three of them were a single shot below the body armor. You know, I wouldn't call the person a sniper, but there's definitely a marksman out there shooting at them. And it was just one of those things, man. I didn't even know Hamilton was with those guys until I got to Anglico, and we were
Yeah, I
talking
think
about it one day, and it came up.
yep, we had Ham and Otto. Corey Otto, he was out there too.
Yeah, they had a route up there, a route alligator, man. Every time you go up that fucking thing, it would just hit an IED. IEDs the whole
Yep.
way.
And we went through we stood in Marja for like we sat in Marja for like a month and a half, 2 months, and then they pulled us all the way out back to Leatherneck, like my whole company. I think it was maybe the battalion, but they were like, all right, now we're going up to Sangin, and we're gonna push through Sangin up to Kajaki.
Yeah.
And that was a fun time.
So I didn't know you guys were. I didn't know you guys were there that long. I didn't realize you sat there for that long. But I thought you guys went up the same time Charlie 1-6 started operating with us. I thought you guys had already pushed up to like Kajaki and Sangin doing that kind of stuff.
We were there for a grip, and then
Yeah.
we sat in Leatherneck for like a month,
Were you at
like
Fob Marja or
planning.
Camp Hansen?
Camp Hansen.
Yeah. Camp Hansen wasn't horrible. At least they had some running water. Fob Marja didn't have any running water though. So you went to Leatherneck. Were you guys doing any kind of training or anything, or was it kind of like they were just trying to find you a mission? I mean, you were a Lance Corporal, but what did it seem like to you as a junior guy?
I mean, they just, hey, everybody stay here during the day. If we need you, we'll come find you. Uh, if you check out, go get lunch or whatever. Be sure you come back right after. And we kind of just stayed in our little like area in the back corner.
Yeah, that's got to be
And
weird. Like being over in Afghanistan and not having a job to do, just kind of hanging out. Like, what are we doing? Like, this is the
yeah,
war?
that's literally how it was. And then it was like one bus that would come back to this little park,
Hmm.
and it couldn't fit many people on it. So it was like getting the chow was like, hey, we got Pop Tarts.
It's like, yeah, you can put 20 people in the bus or you can walk it.
Yeah.
I
And
used
it
to
was a
I used to have the bus license when I was in Iraq because I wanted something to do where I didn't have to be around the fucking chain of command that I had. So I was like, yeah, I'll get a bus license. That's cool. Like, oh, I got to go pick up laundry. Oh, I got to go. It was always an excuse. Oh, I had to go do this. Oh, I got to take this guy.
you got that. Yeah, we ended up just
Fuck yeah,
playing
man.
spades and eating like rat fucking whatever MREs were there. Just out
Eating
there playing
MREs,
spades.
sitting on Leatherneck with some of the best food you could probably get, and you're eating MREs.
Dude. It's the way it was.
Yeah. So once they were like, "Hey, you guys are you said you were gonna move into Sangin and then push up to Kajaki from there."
Yeah.
What was that? How did that come down? Like, had you heard of Sangin and stuff? Had you heard of these areas prior to this?
I heard of it, and they were like, this is gonna be like the stronghold. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh hell yeah, And then everybody around me is like so excited, like because a lot of the dudes that I was with were like Marja Marines, so they cleared Marja the year
Yeah.
before. were there for all of that. And they were like, hell yeah, let's go fuck it up. And I was just like, wait a minute now. I was with y'all. We went down the IED lanes like practicing, and we all got blowed up like 6 times. I'm
Like,
not
bro,
too
you suck
confident.
with the sickle.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what we're doing here. But yeah, we pushed through, and I mean,
So you flew
nothing.
into what, Fob Jackson then, or were you up
Uh,
at on top of the hill at that
it
other
was the
one?
one on top of the hill.
Okay, yeah, there was 2 up there. There was either
It was like a
Shikvani, which is
lighthouse.
across the river, which was the big hill, or there was the other hill. I can't remember the name of that patrol base or that cop. I don't remember, but you probably were up at Shikvani because I think that had the biggest landing zone. If you were bringing in a whole company's worth of dudes at one
Well, I
time
mean, they shipped us out
in pieces.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like, and as soon as we hit the ground, we started moving. They were like, all right, now this is the little PB that we're gonna go make. So we'd walk up there, Merlin and Merlin. They'd knock on the door. Dude comes out and he just grabs all his shit and leaves. And he was like, all right, this is your guys' new place. Make it
This is in
safe.
Sangan or
Yeah, in Sangan.
yeah, huh? So just took over a compound, huh?
Yeah, he just took over a compound and started like
Reinforcing it.
doing sandbags, sandbag.
What do you know what PB it was or what it was called?
We were at PB Florida.
Okay.
And then there was like Georgia and another one. And
so when I was there, a lot of them had been changed to Afghan names. We did have PB Cuba. That's the one that was an American name that I remember. But I think that's like, yeah.
then we had PB Watson.
Watson. Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys built a PB and then what? Like you want to, for someone that hasn't like been in an Afghan mud hut, like what does that entail when you go in to start reinforcing it and building a patrol base out of?
You pretty much just start setting up like where you think people are going to come from or where you have the best view of everything coming around you. So we had like one that we put up on top. We put a bunch of sand like on top of like in a corner of the little hut.
Yeah.
On top of the roof, and we built up like a bunch of sandbags, and that was a 12-hour post. And then we had one at the front, like main door, I guess, and that was a 2-man post with it had the 240 on it. And then there was another one in the back that engineers came out and actually built like a big wood like tower.
Yeah.
So that would have 2 people up there, and then. So we had like all 4 corners and then the front door like blockaded pretty much. So we had full view around it. But we had a big ass mountain behind us. And it was like a flat top. Like nothing grew up there. No houses up there. Just rocks.
So you were up in the brown zone then? You weren't down in the green zone?
Yeah, we were in the brown zone. We were in the brown zone overlooking the green zone.
Okay. And so for those that don't know, route, what is it, 608? Do you remember the name of the route? 611. Route 611 through through Sangan is like one of the major roads. It goes all the way up to Kajaki. And on the when you look at it, it's super weird. On the west side of the road, it comes down into farmland and by the river. So it's all lush and green and stuff. And literally on the other side of the road, it goes up a little bit and it's all dirt and sand. So you have the brown zone, you have the green zone.
We were right there on the edge.
And when I was there, the brown zone was like the more sketchy of the places to be for IEDs. The green zone was where you probably get shot at, ambushed more so, but the brown zone was like an IED magnet. And we were told that like deeper into the brown zone, it was definitely a possibility of getting ambushed up there.
Yeah, first of all, you had to walk up the big hill. And then they're like, in training, they're like, piles of rocks can indicate where IEDs are at. Yeah. And you get up on top of this like flat plateau, and it's just piles of rocks everywhere, just neatly stacked rocks everywhere. And you're just like, and the spiders up there.
Oh, yeah. I never had to worry about them.
I shot a spider. Tried to shoot a spider right in the face. Didn't work.
So once you guys got all set up, what was like the day-to-day like?
It was, you had 12 hours of post. You go hang out for a little bit, and then we had presence patrols. There were 2 presence patrols that went out every day, like 2 patrols a day. And then I would go on one of the patrols, and then I'd do post, and then I'd sleep, post, patrol, sleep. I'd switch out every day. But it was,
What kind of interactions did you have with locals and stuff out on patrol?
uh, the normal ones. You hang out with the kids for a little bit. The terp goes. You bat and hides. We're batting hides in like everybody that we came across.
Yeah, which is
And
the biometric stuff.
yeah, I never touched it. I just knew that whenever they were doing it, it's going to be a while.
Yeah.
And just sit down and have a field of kids around you.
I've done it before, man, and sometimes it's tough because these dudes have so much opium on their fingers that they you can't get their fingerprints. So when you're trying to get their fingerprint in the system, it just won't read it, and you're just like, motherfucker, man.
And then you got to wait forever.
Yeah, you got to try to clean their hand off and get them to. They don't know what the hell's going on. Like, what are you doing with this magic box? You know, like, yeah, it's such a
dumb questions, and you're like, you look like someone on the BOLO list. Probably not, but you look kind of like them.
Yeah.
That's every guy that walks up. Somebody's like, he looks like he's on the BOLO. Pull
Were
out
you,
this fucking piece of paper.
Were you ever out and you see like the mass crowds of people just leave the area? Like you start seeing families and shit leaving. You're like, oh fuck, here we go.
That happened like every time that we would walk out.
Oh,
like
really?
we'd walk down, and there was this village. I think the village of Kang, and it was like you could sit there and you could watch it through like a video feed, like a Harrier flying over or something, and there's this bunch of people out walking around, hanging out, and then as we start to maneuver down into like the village, it was just like people would just disappear.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's not a good sign. Learn that. That's not a good sign. But I mean, nothing really ever. I think we got like a grenade thrown over one of our walls before. That was like a big thing. And then
I'm glad I never had to deal with grenades, man. Fuck.
Well, it was just a kid, and he had a pineapple top. He like walked up next to a wall somehow, popped it, threw it over, and took off into the field.
Yeah.
So that was popping 240s off at him, or 203s off at him.
Fucking kids, man! I can't believe you threw a grenade. You know, I can't say I'm surprised. Let's be honest. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we would go out sometimes, and we'd go out to PB Shamshire Do, which was in the green zone. It was like a quarter mile into the green zone, south of. It was before. Did you guys have PB Transformer there? You remember Transformer? It was next to all the electrical shit. There was like a transformer, an electrical transformer system.
Didn't they blow something up over there, like with a tow?
Probably.
I remember there being like a big ass, like a bunch of like electric things, and then there's a video that came up on the little what's that little service that they use at Night Watch, like the Watcho will send, like the little chat, Merc chat.
Sipper? Oh, Merc. Yeah.
Yeah, and the video came through of somebody shooting off a tow missile at this box.
I doubt it was there because that was they had already turned that into a patrol base. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because 3-5 had talked about it because I think they called the area outside of it the putting green. Is an area for them. We used to go over there though, and I remember one time our Afghans were up on top of it, just shooting, just lobbing a Dishka rounds down range. Like, what are they shooting at? Like, this dude is arced up, like not even aiming, like shooting up, and we're like, what the fuck is this dude doing? And we're sitting there talking to these other dudes, and he had a radio and he had spotters. He was doing IDF with a Dishka. He had dudes on the other side, spotting the rounds for him. I'm like, what? Afghans, man. Afghans solution to an Afghan problem, That was the catchphrase. Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, just lobbing rounds into an area where people live. That's crazy, though. You could never do something like that as an American.
No.
Well,
they weren't even
to a point. Some places.
I watched dudes get smacked. Like, we had like ANCOP attached to us.
Yeah.
So we had like 5 dudes that like lived in like the back little part of our hut. Uh-huh. And we'd always go out there and eat. Like, they'd always have rice and like sheep and shit. So we'd go out there and eat with them. Yeah. Oh my God, eat it with your hands, so greasy. But yeah, we had those dudes, and like we had this big dude. I don't know if you watched wrestling, but like the Great Khali, like the big, he's like 7 foot tall. Yeah. He's like huge. And this dude stood out above all other like Afghan like police. So he was with us, and we called him the Great Khali. And we're out patrolling one day. Round comes from a corner of a building. They're up there, they have their cool masks and they're taking pictures.
Yeah.
Or they start getting shot at, and a round hits one of our dudes' his smoke grenade, and it goes off, and he starts taking off, like after him, like trying to shoot him.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he's like contact, and he's running and like engaging, and we get down to this little spot where it's like they almost lured us in, but we stopped just before we got to that point where it was like no return, and we jumped down into these wadis, and the big Great Khali standing 7 foot tall is like standing there. We're like, get down, you idiot, or shoot back or something. And he's like, no.
They have some crazy dudes,
shit.
man.
God dang.
We had
Too big out here.
their intel guy, the battalion intel dude for the Afghans. We pulled up one time to an area, not realizing we were rolling up to basically a huge ass firefight, and it was like the only real like sustained firefight that we got into. Their intel guy, we were all right on the other side of 611. We were on the east side, and they were shooting at us from a tree line on the west side. And we just like look and over, and we're like probably 500 meters away. And we look over and we see this dude run up with an AK and just pop up and pop, take some shots, and then kind of crouch down and run up and get some cover, like running out into this field right in between us and the Taliban dudes that we're fighting with. And we're all like, what the fuck? This dude's going to get killed. Like it was one of those, like, it looked like Rambo out there just going crazy. And we're like, dude, if he gets hit, man, we're not sending one of our corpsmen out there, like we're not, because he's an idiot. Like that's his own fault.
Yeah.
But then he comes back, he makes it back somehow, and he's like strutting around, like, yeah, you see me? I'm like, I'm a fucking war hero, and you're just like, you're a moron, dude. Running out there in front of all that.
I respect you, but you only got so many times that you could do stuff like that.
They'll probably make a movie about him. Yeah, no shit, for real. Especially if
they probably already did. One of those indie movies.
Yeah,
it's like cars flipping slowly and he's ripping people out of it.
How did I didn't really hear much about your guys' deployment. I mean, obviously I knew what Charlie 16 was doing because they were attached to us, but how was it for the rest of 16?
I mean, I felt like it was just a regular, pretty slow deployment, I mean, we were there during Ramadan, so like
there
wasn't
really, not really doing much,
Yeah, we weren't doing like next to nothing. We'd go out and walk around, but I mean, firefights would happen every so often, but they were mostly, like a couple rounds come down range, or they'd pop shots from like across the river or the wadis on the PB, and not really too much like to talk about. I mean, we did a couple night raids. That was fun.
Were you guys offensive at all, or did it just feel like you were holding ground?
It felt like we were holding, and I mean, that was kind of our mission, was to just keep Route 611 clear.
Yeah.
So that way we can get aid up to Kajaki, because those dudes were kind of like up there alone and unafraid.
Yeah. And 611 was just like an IED like hotbed, and it got better and better as time went on, I think. And while I was there, I think they were at the bazaar. They were paving it, and the plan was to pave it all the way up to Kajaki. And by the time I left, I think it got to PB Transformer from the bazaar, like the paving did. The Taliban dudes ambushed some of the civilian contractors that had been hired, the local national contractors that had been hired, killed them, flipped over their fucking. They tried to set an ambush for us by flipping over their dump truck and blocking the road. 2 of them. They tried to do it with 2 of them. But it was just like, dude, just trying to get a road paved, like what an insane thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of it, they were trying to pave the road, I think, because they've been trying for like decades to get these turbines up to Kajaki, up to the dam, because it's only running at like a quarter power, like a half.
Yeah.
Like that's why they have so many brownouts. But the Taliban dude just didn't want them to get power flowing. I don't get it, but like it's consistent power. But I don't know, man. What was So, this is your first deployment. What was your kind of thought process after you'd gotten back from that deployment? Before you go into it, not really knowing, you only know what you know from people telling you stuff and everything, but it's not something that you can really understand until you actually do it. And I don't mean that in the means like there's people dying everywhere and all this, like crazy stuff, but just like the boredom, the food, the heat, you know, the nuance, the
Yeah,
little shit that bugs you, like having to get up in the middle of the night and run out to the piss tube, you know, stuff like
yeah.
that. So after
The
having the
smell.
reality smack you in the face of what a deployment was like, you know, what was your kind of thought process when you got back from that one?
You know, it was a lot to take in. It was, I mean, I didn't have like PTSD per se, but like my first day back, I'd go outside to smoke a cigarette, like outside of my house, and somebody's doing roof work next door. So they start popping out the little nail gun. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit. But yeah, you know, like I still was waking up for like weeks, like reaching for my rifle.
Oh yeah. You do
You
that
know,
where you get
but
out of your car and you're like, fuck, where's my rifle? And you're like, wait, it's like I'm on
yeah.
Camp Lejeune right now.
Like, what the hell? And then we did like our little stand down brief, and
Yeah.
the sergeant major from 1-6 got out of his car and he walks up. He's like, "Where's y'all's rifles?" And everybody kind of like, "Ah, ha, ha, you got us," you know.
Good one,
But I
Sergeant
mean,
Major.
yeah, he got us. But I mean, really, it was just I didn't have much problem adjusting.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't really much like, oh man, I miss those piss tubes. Nah, like I was like, hell yeah, toilet. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh, I can turn the lights on. Oh, look, running
I could
water
take
that's not hot.
I could take a running like a regular shit. Like it's not like
Mm.
a 5-day buildup.
The wag bag.
Yeah, I could flush the toilet. I don't have to go burn my shit.
Yeah. Smelling the burn piles, man. It's weird how you just get used to standing in smoke all day, burning feces
Yeah,
and
but
plastics.
there's still like times where I'll be like walking around somewhere and I'll get, you know, like you get
Yeah.
that smell. Like I know that smell, but I don't know what it's from.
It's
And then you're like, fucking wag bags. Someone just shit somewhere
someone's
over there.
burning their shit over here. Man,
Yeah.
those burn pits. We had a guy. We had to medevac a guy. I think it was when I was with 3-6. It might have been when I was on the advisory team. I can't remember exactly. But there was a guy walking to, I think, throw his wag bag in the fucking burn pile. And someone, you know, everything goes in the burn pile. It's like, oh, it's just trash. Throw it in the burn pile. Like everything. Furniture, shit, trash, paper, you know, all of it.
Batteries you don't want to carry.
Batteries. And this dude,
my
and I
God.
think that might have been a battery or someone threw a round in it on accident or something. But this dude was walking by and something popped and it hit him in the ass. And he had to get medevac because he got shot in the ass by something in the burn pit.
I think I heard that.
Yeah, I don't think it was an actual round. I think it was like a battery or something that blew up, but it like injured him. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think he might have come back out, but I know they had to fly him to get higher level of care than what we could, you know, treat out in the middle of fucking boondocks of Afghanistan. But
Yeah, our company CEO, he was like a real big, like, we called him Captain America.
yeah,
But every time something would blow up in the burn pit, like everybody else in the CP is like, that's burn pit.
yeah,
He would come in like, get the G-boss over on this area. Let's start looking around. Let's be every time. So people would just start throwing batteries in there to just
fuck
watch
with him.
Captain America frick off. Like,
So I think
and I'm on the G-boss just like, God damn it.
I think the loudest boom I heard the entire time I was there was our American contractors brought down the blimp, the PGSS blimp. And for those that don't know what that is, it's just like a miniature Goodyear blimp that has a really good camera on the bottom of it, and it's like tethered to the ground with like a cable, and that way we can look out on the battlefield. And they put it up pretty high, like 6,000 feet or something like crazy. I don't even know exactly, but it's pretty high. And our contractors came into the COC and they're like, "Hey, we need to bring the balloon down to fill it up with air, to like add air to it, you know." And they brought it down. Like an hour later, we're sitting there, just hear, boom, and the whole building shakes, and the fucking like all this shit happens. CO comes running in, you know, the battalion commander comes running in. He's like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like, everyone's on the cameras. We're looking for like we thought a V-bit or something and everything, but they had overinflated this balloon and blew it up, and it's huge, right? We had to medevac like 3 of the civilian contractors because they had like concussions.
Every grunt's dream, because all of them are just like, while you're out there, like, those motherfuckers are watching us.
Yeah.
Like, God, I wish that blimp would go down for like 3 days. Like, I fucking hate that blimp always watching us.
No way, man. I did not like I know what you're saying because I've been out there and been on the receiving end of like, hey, I know you guys are right here, often, to your left a little bit and a little bit beyond, there might be this. Can you check it out? It's like one of those, like, someone's trying to direct you from afar,
Yeah, or that one where the
micromanagement.
CO's like, hey, I noticed your point man doesn't have both gloves on, and the glove on
Yeah.
his right hand is missing all the fingers. So
Yeah.
go ahead and get him some gloves.
I've
Where's your eye
heard of
protection?
that. I've heard of that, but
Like,
I
that's a
never,
weird. Like, God damn it, he's good.
we used to, working in the Fire Support Coordination Center and the Command Center for for 3-6 it was interesting because you could use the blimp to hunt people, I mean, I guess you want to call it. You would get with intel and talk to them and like, hey, there's always someone, over in this area. One day the blimp was just scanning and it was just happened to be scanning around and we saw this dude, just a flash of a dude jumping over a little wadi with a PKM in his right hand. And we're like, oh shit, we go back and then we lost him. And we're like, fuck. So we're like, all right, tomorrow we're going to sit on that spot. Oh, and we took some rounds at one of the patrol bases, some harassing fire. And we had been taking harassing fire for those guys. Those guys had been taking harassing fire for a while. So we're like, tomorrow we're going to put the blimp on that spot and just watch that spot all day. And we were on it for hours, man. And we saw 3 dudes come over and fucking jump across and take their little trail that they had. And we just followed them, ended up hitting them with I think we had a Reaper come in and drop some ordnance on them or something like that. But, the blimp was cool. Like, doing shit like that was pretty cool. Because you're like, fuck that dude. Like, we're having an actual effect here. Like, we're using these tools, probably how they were kind of designed to be used and stuff like that. So, I mean, you were on the G-Boss. You know how it goes.
So we replaced 2-8 when we were in Marja. We replaced 2-8. And maybe it was when we were in Marja. And they had like all these stories. Like they had an RPG shot and it like deflected off the G-Boss. So like the Taliban thought that they had like a force field.
Oh.
And then like they had tied a predator had went down and they had tied it to a tree and they thought that mice were piloting it or some shit like that.
I'd heard that too.
And they were like, yeah, it was like so they tied it up to the tree so that way the mice can get back in it and fly away. So I was like, man, this G-Boss is like a force field.
It sucks.
But then you'd always hear them trying to pop off at the blimp. Like,
yeah, it does suck.
It can't be shooting at anything else but the blimp.
It does suck for the guy that has to operate it because it is a long job where you're just sitting there for hours. But I bet it's like a rush when you actually find something. Like when you see someone putting in an IED or you. I mean, were you able to locate anything the whole time when you were on it? It's tough.
I seen one dude like digging outside of an ANCOP position, and we sent it up. And come to find out, he was like buried some like seeds or something there, and he came back for him. Super sketchy, but they were like they cleared him, so that was like. Then you get to watch like dogs and shit run around.
Yeah, you do see some interesting stuff. You see like what's going on when they don't think you can see them and shit. Yeah. What a weird world,
just
man.
Sitting out in the middle of the field, like, for hours. Just like, I'm still watching this guy. He's still just Haji squatting, chilling.
Where you see a dude, like, walking and stop to take a shit and just, like, throw some dirt up on his ass and keep walking. You're like, oh. Like, come on, man.
That's when you switch from black hot to white hot. You sit there. You still got doo-doo butt.
Did you ever have any, like, well, you didn't, but did anybody that was any of the G-Boss operators ever find a target and help, like, do target location with it? No.
We were not doing varsity shit like that. Like, I felt like after I started being used, like, the G-Boss just sat there kind of on an auto-rotate. And it was just like whoever was in there is just like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Then they walk over and turn it back and be like, oh, no, it's nothing. Put it back on its rotate. Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
The coolest thing that probably happened during my deployment with 1-6 was that we were out and we were patrolling, and there was a recon element working not far from us. So we're out there and we're like patrolling.
Like a recon battalion or like a sniper team from your unit?
I have no idea.
Okay.
But we didn't know they were out there. Nobody in my unit knew they were there.
Oh, really?
And then, yeah, there's just a fucking helicopter that comes out of nowhere, and goes up and then dives back down, like firing rounds, and it speeds off, and we're like, holy shit, what was that?
Yeah.
We got a helicopter over here fucking shooting at something, and something shooting back at it. And they were like, yeah, it's just like a recon unit over there. They're maneuvering over there. Just stay away from them. They're like, all right. So we shouldn't go help them. We should just stay here. They're like, no, they got to taken care of.
They're doing it. They're doing their thing.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm supposed to know about aircrafts over here.
Yeah.
Like, somebody in my command should know about it.
What was it like linking back up with like Hamilton and the other guys, the other FOs and stuff like that? Because everyone's in separate parts of the country. Everybody's had like separate experiences and stuff like that. So these guys that you had worked with daily, you know, gone to Bragg with, gone to 29 Palms with, like hand in hand. Now you've all had separate experiences, and you know everyone's experience is going to vary.
Yeah, we didn't see each other until like I was the last one to come back.
Yeah.
So like when I came back, like Ham was already there at the armory, like, yo, what up? Had the bottles like waiting.
Yeah.
And then you just start talking about like, bro, well, this happened. Yo, I tried to send up this mission. They told me to frick off, so we just sat there for 30 minutes waiting for a predator to check on station, so that way they could watch it in the COC. Super cool, dude. Like,
I was the guy. I was the one that was like, nah, man. And it sucks because, you know, there was many times at that point I wasn't a JTAC or anything. And there were a couple missions where I had HIMARS ready to go and HIMARS was ready to fire, but the battalion's like, no, we're going to wait on air. And it's like, dude, air's not going to be here for like 10 more minutes. And then you got to do a check-in, 9-line, you know, game plan, 9-line, all that. And I'm like, these dudes are ready to shoot. And they're like, no, we're going to wait. And it's like, okay. Like, whatever, man. Yeah, like, what are we doing?
I tried to run a HIMARS mission. Come to find out, Denny had actually put all the goalposts and everything up for it.
Yeah.
But we never got to
I
run
always
it.
put stuff up like, and I brief the OPSO. That's how you got to do it, you know. Be like, hey, here's an option. Here's all the options. And this is the one I recommend. But it's all.
Well, we always had like integrated mortars with us. Like they would carry like a tube with them.
Oh, to shoot handheld and stuff. Yeah.
And then 81s was always right down the way too. So everything that was kind of, but they were like, no, not today. We got predators checking on.
Yeah.
They got hellfires.
Yeah, and predators. I mean, they're pretty good on a stationary target, but they're not the greatest for like a moving target and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, neither is Artie, obviously, but it was frustrating sometimes, though, because you'd be like, we're wasting time just to wait on an aircraft to get here when I can literally have impacts in a minute and 15 seconds, you know? Like, I'm looking at my watch. Well, if I tell them fire right now.
Yeah, by the time, like, the air checks in, it's like, yeah, they already broke contact like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't know where they're at.
Yeah, none of the scouts in 3.6's AO got a call for fire in. I was the only one. I did HIMARS call for fire from the COC. And that was it. You know, we never got to use XCal because they were everything that was happening was either inside the minimum range or right on the edge of the max range. And the time of flight would be like 30, 45 seconds longer, you know, than HIMARS. And I was like, dude, sorry. Like, I want to use you guys, but HIMARS is my shit.
Yeah, I sent up a polar mission once, you know, just to try and shoot my shot. And they're like why are you sending this up to us?
Like, why are you sending this
to us? I was like, they're like, nah, that's declined. I was like, okay, we could do this another way.
I had my OPSO, so we had a GBOS operator identify what we thought was an IED emplacer, right? And he was looking out, and it was one of those areas that was like open country, so it was really hard for him to get like a hard location. And we're like, this dude's putting in an IED. We got a predator coming in, but it's going to take a few minutes. And I'm like, hey, HIMARS is ready to shoot, right? Like, give me the hard location. Like, once we confirm this location, I'm ready to shoot like right now. And the OPSO's like, well, the predator can't find the guy because we're looking around and we're trying to verify the grid. He's like, can we just launch a HIMARS rocket out there and adjust off of it? And I'm like, you want me to do an adjust fire with the HIMARS?
With the HIMARS?
And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, sir. And I like laughed and looked up over my shoulder at him, and he was looking down at me like super serious. And I'm like, oh, I mean, yes, I can. I can request it. Like, we can always request it, you know. Ended up he wasn't an IED emplacer; he's a farmer, but we did not shoot at him. But yeah, I was like, dude, You're asking me to
not
do an
shoot.
adjust fire mission with HIMARS, which is, hey, let's think outside the box, I guess. It's only 150 grand. Fuck it. Each one of those things.
One of the cool things I could say I did was I was one of the first people to call in an XCal round in training in 29 Palms.
Oh, cool.
So they had like all these colonels and generals and everything up there. Like I wasn't even allowed to walk over there, like by the people in the pit.
Oh, really?
And they were just watching the feed because they had like drones flying around, like aircraft, like sensors and everything on it. And you're like, oh God.
You want to get a good shot of the explosion?
Yeah, and then we like called it in, and it came in, and it was awesome. They put our name on a plaque in like the training facility up there.
Oh, no way! That's cool.
Yeah.
How did you guys call it in then? When was this?
2000 and I want to say 11.
Yeah. For those that don't know, an XCal round is a GPS guided artillery round, and it's really accurate. It's highly accurate. So
super accurate.
Did you call it in off like Vector Dagger on the ground or what?
Yeah, Vector Dagger.
Yeah, that's a laser rangefinder and
laser rangefinder and
GPS.
Little weird thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all of us are up there and we're all excited about it. That was like the one cool thing. That and we almost blew up some road guards in 29 Palms.
Well, you don't want to do that.
Their little safe zone, their little like safe house was like in the impact area. Mm-hmm. So they were supposed to be stopping this thing, but I guess they forgot about the dudes. So they just left them out there. Range went hot and they're like, hey, are we able to blow that like structure up out there? They're like, thank God the person that called it in wasn't that good.
Yeah, no shit, Jesus.
It was like the round impacted, boom, and then you see these two people scurry out. And we're like, holy shit! How did
the command center not catch that? That's the whole point of having an FSCC. Catch shit like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, will you adjust your camera just a little bit so I can see your full face? Oh. My YouTube listeners or watchers will appreciate it. There you go. Oh. Hey, so when you got back, what was the game plan? Like you got back to 10th Marines, welcome back War Heroes. You guys are the salty ones on deck now. Were you a corporal at this time or?
Lance corporal.
Still Lance? Okay.
Yep. Combat Lance. And then went back over to 110 because while we were deployed, 510 folded their flags. Went back over to 110, so pretty much we walked into a whole new section of people. We had no clue who they were. Mm-hmm. Met Denny, like a bunch of just people that were just like, they outranked us, but we were like, we just came back from combat, bro. Like,
what are you guys are the boots right now.
What are you going to tell me, bro? Yeah. And it ended up, I got put on the deployment to go UDP with Alpha Company to Oki. So I did that. It was a great time hanging out with a bunch of cool dudes.
What do you guys? I never did a UDP. So what did that entail? Do you guys do a lot of like a whole workup like you would do on a normal deployment?
Nah. You pretty much just go over there on an airplane, get there, get a barracks room, and get a whole new SIF issue, hang out.
And just wait
and
then,
like you do some training. Yeah, you do some training, but it's like, I mean, I think we did 2 ops the whole time we were there. But for the most part, you were just getting drunk and doing Connex cleanouts and gear accountability, cleaning fucking radios.
Did you get to go to any other countries or just Japan?
Just Japan. No. We went to the Philippines.
Yeah.
We did go to the Philippines. That was
Subic Bay or like a different area?
It was Crow Valley. It was near. It was Subic Bay, like same area, but we had the impact area of Crow Valley.
Okay. Yeah, I've never been out to the Philippines.
Man, that was a wild experience. Like,
yeah.
You'd finish shooting at night, and then you just see like the whole impact area light up with people with cell phones coming to pick up scrap metal. Yeah. It was like, y'all been there the whole time?
Nate Garnes was talking about that. He was saying on, I can't remember what episode he's on, but on one of the previous episodes, he was talking about how there would be dudes that would build like little huts in the impact area, supposedly reinforced, and they would sit there inside that little hut so they could be the first ones to get the scraps after you guys were done shooting and shit like that. I'm like, no way. He's like, dude, the ranges over there, He's like, you have to like tell them like, hey, we're not gonna shoot with people in the range. Like they're totally okay with it. Like the Filipino army, and it's
Yeah. And then like you wouldn't see shit move. You wouldn't see anybody all day. And as soon as y'all call check fire or y'all shut it down, the whole like green little thing just starts lighting up with phone cameras and shit.
I wonder what they're doing with the metal from an artillery round. Like, what do you make out of that? You know, I mean, I'm sure there's 100 things you can make out of it, but
We would have we put a fresh Connex box out there, and each day you could look at the Connex box before you left, and when you came back, they would have like chipped out some, so it was like less.
Yeah.
So it looks like you blew up more.
Knocked out the doors today. Would take a side panel off.
Yeah, we were doing a live 50 cal range, like a 50, shooting into this little like wall, and as soon as everything was done, all the spots we were just shooting at lit the fuck up, like they were already there.
They're on the other side of the barrier or whatever it is.
You're like, what? Where did y'all come from?
Yeah, dude, we are so lucky to live in the United States, man. That's why, like, when shit's crazy like it is right now, it's like, I wish people just would realize how good they have it compared to some of the stuff we saw like that overseas, you know? Like, you know,
a lot of the stuff going on now, like I could see it, I get it, and I understand it, and I support it, but I'm like, God, man, do y'all really have to stand in front of the road? Like, I'm just trying to go make some money.
Yeah, you're a truck driver, man. You can't be blocking the road from the truck drivers.
And I was like, cool, if y'all want to block the road, that's fine, you know, whatever. I could sit here and wait. But then, like, now, like, people are getting, like, shit thrown at their cars.
Yeah.
This is a $250,000 truck. Like, I don't got that kind of money.
Yeah. Are you, are you working for a truck company, or are you, like, an owner-operator kind of deal?
I'm a company driver for right now.
Okay.
I just wanted to learn the ropes, see if I like it for a year before I dive in it too deep.
What do you think so far? I know a lot of guys get out, and that's an option. That's another one of the big options for people is truck driving. Yeah,
right before I got out, some higher up was like, yeah, you can just go be a piece of shit truck driver like all the other shit bags that get out. And, you know, I was like, I'm never going to be a truck driver. Yeah. Then, like, 2 years later, I was like, you know, being a truck driver didn't sound so bad.
No, man.
I come out here, you know, money's pretty good. I work for a company, but like the only way they talk to me is through a little text message that they send to my ELD, and that's just sending me to my next load.
Yeah. So you have like a dispatcher, and you're just cruising around, picking up loads, dropping off loads.
Yeah. Drop off. I'm 10 miles away from my drop spot tomorrow. Drop this load off. That's $900. Then within the hour after I drop off, I'll have another load somewhere here in North Carolina, probably going back up north.
Yeah.
Just keeps me going. I try to get 5 loads a week. About $6,000 to the truck. Are
you on the road 5 days a week or more?
So I'll leave out Sunday, like night usually, and I'll come back like Friday morning with a load. So I'll be loaded. So every Sunday night I could just leave out, get to the spot where I'm dropping.
Yeah.
So it starts the week with a load.
Yeah. So you have a normal kind of so you still have your weekends. You're just gone all week.
Yeah. I still got my weekends. Hang out as much as I can with the family. Hopefully after I get some experience, I can go do something local where I'm home more.
Yeah.
But for right now, I'm waiting for my wife to graduate nursing school. She's got a year left there, so it kind of balanced out to where I can get a local job and she'll be a nurse.
Yeah.
So make enough money to survive.
Nah, man, that's the goal. Survive, right? Put some bread aside and keep pushing. If someone's like considering being a truck driver when they get out of the Marine Corps, what kind of advice do you have for them?
Don't drive it like a car.
Yeah. What's the hardest part about it for you? Aren't they all automatic now? Isn't it pretty easy?
Yeah, I mean my truck's automatic. It's just like driving a car. It's super easy. Big thing is like patience.
Yeah.
Because like I get mad because you know I drive in the right lane, so everybody merging on. If they don't go the speed, it slows my truck down, and then they take off, and I can't get back up to speed, or they stay slow, and then I hit them. It's just one of those things. But I used my GI Bill because I was going to college, but like I was in math class talking about gun rights. I was kind of like,
Oh, really?
what the fuck am I here, dude? Yeah, like I hated it.
Yeah.
Like
It's not for
I was like,
everybody, man. And every
yeah, I was
school is
like,
different.
well, I just went to a little community college to try and dip my feet in, but I
Yeah.
was like,
That's the way to
this
go,
ain't
though.
for me.
Yeah.
But then I found out I can get my CDL, and then now the company that I work for, they're reimbursing me for my CDL, and I get on the job training from the VA. So
What
it's
does
a
it
nice
cost
little.
to get a CDL?
I paid. It was $5,000
Wow.
for me to go through the class. I mean, you don't have to. Not everybody has to go through the class. I went through like a month-long class because I had never driven like a manual before.
Oh,
So
really?
I was like,
What
yeah.
the
So
fuck?
I'd never driven a manual before. So
I'd
I was
like to
like,
hear what everybody thinks about that in the comments on the YouTube video.
yeah. It's okay. I'm just a little gay. I get it. But yeah, I didn't. I never drove a manual, so they taught me everything, and now I'm out. I can shift. I can get through traffic pretty easy.
Yeah, but that's an automatic though, right? So it's you don't have to worry
I
about
have
it.
an automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I had to test out and train and like for this company,
Mm-hmm.
since I didn't have a restriction on my license, for 2 weeks I had to drive a manual around, and I had to drive it well enough for them to be like, okay, we'll put you on one of our trucks. And I was
Can
like,
you?
God, I hope I get an automatic, but.
Are you glad you're working for another company rather than going out trying to do your own thing?
For right now, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, just to get your
I
feet
mean,
wet, kind of deal.
yeah, just kind of learn it, but like freight isn't what freight was 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So like these guys that are owner operators, 5 years ago, like there was so much money in it. I mean, you can watch YouTube videos now. I watch YouTube videos just about every day about it, like what to do whenever you become an owner operator. Is it a good time?
Mm-hmm.
But like freight's prices are so low
Oh,
because of big
really?
companies. So it's like really hard I mean, there are owner operators out there that are bringing it in, but they got that, that one in a million.
Yeah.
They struck it with this.
Yeah, they got the right niche, like route and product to move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I drive flatbed right now. I'm hoping to move up to heavy equipment, riding a low boy in the next year. But
That's
as
cool, man.
for driving by myself, I mean, it's nice. I don't have to pay for fuel. I don't have to pay for insurance. I just make 33% of every load that I take.
And you're just cruising.
Just cruising, listening to podcasts, hanging out.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, I did a couple trips over the road when I was working for a moving company before I joined the Marines, And I talked to some guys afterwards, and they were like, "Yeah, moving truck semi dudes. They're like that's the bottom rung. They're like that's like the least best, like the worst paying of I guess of all the fucking like freight moving is like working in the moving household goods and shit like that." And I was like, "Oh." I was 19. I don't know. Like it was interesting though, cruising around in a semi. Like, oh, okay, this is what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. I get to see different spots. Like today I'm in North Carolina. Tomorrow I'll be back up in Pennsylvania. You know, Wednesday I'll be over in Ohio. It's
That's
just like I'm
wild.
everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
Just all over the place.
Hmm.
So you said you're driving flatbed right now. What are the different certifications?
I mean,
Is that just
with
what you're
just
doing, or is there a certification to go from like a flatbed to like a regular like
no, I mean you can
trailer?
drive a reefer or a reefer or a dry van. Like I could have started with Swift or
Yeah.
Maverick or any of these places, and that's a dry van. Drop and hook or just open your back, and you don't no touch freight. Pretty
Yeah.
much. So you just
Okay.
drive. But flatbed, you get out those straps or you put a tarp on or
Yeah.
yeah. I'd like that because it's a little bit more active. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I
So
mean
so the only like certifications in are kind of like hazmat and stuff like that. Then.
hazmat, doubles and triples. There's a couple others, but like oversize.
Yeah.
I don't.
Huh.
I don't have none of that. I'm working on my hazmat, but I mean at the company that I work for now, we don't really deal too much in hazmat.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're
this
new. I
is
mean,
not a
you're new to it,
pressing
so
issue.
it takes a while, just like everything else, to get all your certifications done.
Yeah, and then it's just like do what I want to do. Like
Yeah.
I'm thinking about moving. I'm trying to move out to Texas sometime.
Yeah.
Looking at some land in Texas and work on the oil fields. I'll need my tanker's license, hazmat, all that. But
Yeah, well,
That'll
right now
come
there
with
it's
it.
not a good. Right now it's not a good market to be in oil, but it'll pick back up just like everything else.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Just
So,
trying to learn
are
the ropes.
do you like what you're doing better in the Marines, or do you wish you were still in?
Nah, I love being in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm not one of those dudes that's like supermoto, like as you could probably tell from my postings, but I'm not like one of those dudes that's like, oh, I was a Marine, da 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 da. But
Rob.
I loved what I did in the Marine Corps. I would have kept doing it. I just kind of got to a dark spot in life where I was just going through the motions, and I got hemmed up, got in some trouble, and you know, I hate the person that did it to me, but I also have to take some responsibility. And you know, where she goes.
Yeah.
I'm making more money now than I was there. That's for certain.
Yeah, but who
But
cares about money though? Are you happy? Are you
yeah,
like you enjoying the work?
I like it.
That's a
I
good
like
man.
the Marine Corps. I like the Marine Corps a lot better though.
Yeah.
Like it's just here, I'm kind of by myself all the time. There, I had people like Ham or Kurt, and it was just like a different
Even
feeling, different
even
environment.
oh, for sure, man. And that's something that people on the outside can never understand, like coming into work and fuck, this sucks. Staff sergeant said we all have to be here at 05 to, clean out the comm cage. Everyone
Mhm.
shows up 05, like this fucking sucks. But once you're like there
And
and you start working, everyone's just fucking with each other and
yeah,
you're doing
it's
the
all you're
work,
all
but you're
suffering together.
yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like, unless you've been in the military and if you've experienced something like that, I think people in any MOS can relate to that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
we may be more extreme because like we'd go to Fort Bragg and sit on an OP for a month. With the same 10 people. You saw that you're hanging out with the same people 10 people 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You learn to know everything about them and people
yep,
fucked up stories and just weird shit. Some MOSs don't get it to that extreme. But the bond that you have with those people, it's like it's super cool. What was your?
yeah. It's like I thought.
Go ahead.
I thought whenever I got out of the Marine Corps, like, wherever I go to work, I ended up working at a line striping company, like painting lines on the road
Yeah.
for like a year. And I was like, these people are pretty cool, but it was just like, it was just like high school drama. I was like, God dang, like this place sucks. Like, I want to go back and talk to my Marine Corps friends. And now that
Yeah.
I'm in a truck by myself, I'm just like, it's either this or the Marine Corps. So,
I think while you're in, you look at the Marine Corps and the military, and you're like, how is this a professional organization? We are so fucked up. This is fucked up. That's messed up. This is messed up. And then you get out to the real world and you realize how efficient the military
yeah, it was like
actually is.
there was so much structure there. Like
Like
it was controlled chaos at the time.
if you
But
expected people to do half of like what we would do sometimes in a day, they'd be like, "No way, dude, not gonna happen." You know?
hmm
Yeah, it's just a different world.
I look
Huh?
at the Marine Corps now. I look at the people that are still in. Like some of the people, I know. I know one specific individual that that was part of your salt, and you kicked him the fuck out. And then he went to the S3, and then they tried to put him in another salt, and then they kicked him out.
Oh, Rogers?
Yeah,
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
he's a sergeant now, and I'm like,
Get the
how in the
fuck out of
fuck?
here.
Yep, he's a sergeant, and
Oh,
I'm like, why did they pretty much like forced my hand into getting out, but they promoted this guy and sent him on, and he's still in the Marine Corps,
what if he's
fucking
good
slug
now?
bugging it up.
What if he's actually? What if he turned out to
He
be like a
messaged
really
me
good
the other
Marine?
day. He messaged me the other day, and he was like, uh, Sergeant OB, like, I got a junior Marine, and he just doesn't listen to me. Like, how would you haze him? I'm like, bruh, I'm not gonna be an accomplice to this.
Yeah, like what the fuck are you?
Like,
Delete
what would
my
you do?
number.
I was like, why are we even friends on Facebook, Rogers? Like, when did this happen? Then I look, and we're not even friends. He just
He
messages
just
me.
messaged you out of the blue.
Yeah, I'm like,
I've had
how the
guys.
fuck are you still a Marine, dude?
I've had guys call me and ask me about doing LZ briefs and stuff like that, but never about hazing somebody. You know,
Bro, he was, how do
He-
I tiptoe on the line of hazing? I want him to respect me.
I'm gonna write this time down. I'm gonna go back and take his name out just because he's still in and stuff like that. And I don't like to disparage people unless they have an opportunity to defend themselves. But he was highly ineffective. I remember being out on the rifle range with him, and we were like, this is probably, I know a lot of people, or no one that listens to the podcast heard the story. You probably have. But I remember being out on a range with him. We were doing a flat range. We were doing all kinds of shit. You know, you do your table 3 stuff to like warm up, and then we were running around barriers and shit. And we're like, Captain Watt was like, hey, so and so, you ready to you up, or you ready to go again? He's like, oh, my wrist is a little sore, sir, but I think I got another one in me. Fucking PFC. First time he's out on the range, he was asking if he could get a rifle with a 203 on it, and then you give him one, and then he goes out to the range, and that's what he said to the captain. I'm like, I didn't even know what happened, and the captain.
You see,
Captain Watt turned around to me and was like, Kramer.
ANGLICO,
yeah.
Like,
he wasn't even on a team or anything yet. We were just trying to give him like some shooting time and stuff like that. And he was just like,
get your ass out of the S3 and come with us and learn some shit.
And you know what's funny is the entire company was up in Canada. Like most of the company. We had just gotten back from deployment.
Jesus, I hated that fucking place.
Yeah, so, did you go to Canada too?
Yeah, I went to Canada.
Oh, I didn't know
I didn't go through it to the extent. I was with Major Whiteman, hanging out, chilling back in the...
Oh, you're one of the guys hanging out, drinking at the embassy and hanging out while the guys are eating shit.
I wasn't that far back hanging out. I was like in the front, but like I slept in a tent.
Don't try to
all
church
my
it up.
Carried around by a Humvee.
Probably had people bringing you food, servants.
They did bring us like pies and shit. It was nice. I was like, I've made it. And then you hear Farrell on the radio like, I'm gonna die.
We're gonna die out here.
Man, this pie is really good.
If people haven't heard about Canada, then they need to go back and listen to episode 19. Let me double check that. I'm pretty sure it's 19. Yeah.
So looking at Rango and Farrell after like the whole event, like I was like, God, y'all went through hell. And they're like, hell, that doesn't even start to explain it. And I'm like, hey, we got some pie left over.
Yeah.
Want some pie?
Yeah, episode 19 and 20. I think episode 19 is the one where we talk about Canada specifically, but yeah, the team guys got put out with the Canadians out into the Arctic tundra and thought that they were going to be out there for like a couple days and ended up going out and not coming back for 30 days straight. It was basically like they were in a combat zone getting chased down by tanks and shit. But
yeah, that was good times.
Yeah, well while they were up there,
what the dude said.
Who?
Ramirez. He had like an interview with like the Canadian general or something, and he said some like off the wall. No, the other Ramirez.
I don't know. Oh, I don't know who that is.
He got a coin for it, but he said like some super like
I wasn't there.
moto shit, and everybody was like, "Why the fuck did you say that? Like you didn't do anything." Yeah.
There was a lot of butthurt people when they came back from. I didn't realize. Yeah, so you guys all went up there, and then we got a boot drop, which means like 4 dudes showed up. And my team had already had all these like ranges planned, machine gun ranges, grenade ranges, like all of it, like a whole gamut of stuff over like a week long or a week and a half. And we're like, well, fuck it, we'll just take these because they had those like 4 new guys. We're like, well, we'll stick them in the S3 until the company gets back, and then we'll decide what to do with them. And I was like, well, fuck that, because they're not going to do anything over there. So let's bring them out with us, and then at least this gives me an opportunity to screen them. You know, I can like draft.
We got enough. We got enough ammo.
Yeah,
we got like 2,000 rounds.
Yeah, we got plenty of fucking ammo. That's one thing ANGLICO never ran out of was ammo, which sucks. Now I'm out. That's the thing I miss, having to pay for my own ammo now when I want to go shoot. It kind of sucks. But
and with the round shortages now.
Is there? I haven't bought ammo in a while. Just because I keep enough, I keep enough on hand.
I just bought another 9mm, and like I was like, yeah, I'll get some hollows. They're like, yeah, we're sold out. We won't have any in for a while.
Yeah,
like, fuck.
California's weird. You're supposed to do a background check for ammo purchases now. However, I think it was ruled unconstitutional. I haven't tried to purchase any ammo, so I'm not sure if they're actually enforcing it. But yeah, you're supposed to have to do a background check every time you go buy ammo now. And the first time you do it, if you haven't already purchased and registered a firearm in California, it can take up to 30 days to get your background check back for your ammo. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I have a ton of ammo just from, I usually try to buy a box extra or something like that when I buy some. So,
Yeah.
but
Here in Virginia, like you could buy a gun a month now. Like
is that
like you can't buy more than 1,000 rounds in a month. Like
so you can only buy one gun a month?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's like every 30 days you could buy another gun.
I've never heard that, like being limited.
Which I never really cared about before, but now I have a little bit of extra money. I'm like, I should buy some guns.
Now that you're and plus it's like, well, hold on, you don't want me to buy more than one a month? Well, maybe I'll fucking try. Maybe I will buy one. Like,
maybe I'm gonna shoot my shot.
I would never buy more than one. I'm not buying guns like that, but
I never thought I would be either. But then they're like, you can only buy one gun a month. Now it's like I kind of want to buy 2 this month.
Yeah. No, exactly. I wouldn't want to.
Now I do.
What if you had 2 kids and you're trying to buy them both a rifle for Christmas?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Savage 308. Reaching out and touch somebody.
Yeah, start them young. But yeah, no, what we were talking about before though is like, we took these guys out on the range, and he was the dude. When they came back, and Luna was the ops chief. He's like, "Who do you want on your team?" And I told him the 2 guys that I wanted, and I didn't get either one of them. I got the 2 guys I did want. And then I was like, "Fuck, man." So whatever.
We'll train them. We will train them.
They were like, "We're not gonna stuff all your shit bags in the S3." And I'm like, "Yeah, I get that, but it's not like you guys are doing a lot anyway at the company."
But can we trade one? Like, can I only take one of these?
Let
me get at least one pick.
Jaramillo was one of them. I think I was supposed to get, but he shot himself in the hand with a fucking nail gun when him and Merritt were working on the bar. Remember the bar at ANGLICO? Yeah, he shot himself in the hand with a nail gun. So it was like, there's your ticket to the S3 for a couple months, homie. Yeah, it's weird. All those dudes are in leadership positions now if they're still in. So him being a sergeant, like, hopefully he's gotten better. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I was like, isn't it weird looking back and your boots are now in charge of people? And it's like, dude, who the fuck put this dude in charge? You just assume they're still retarded.
And I still see people that I'm like, bro, like, I don't know how you made it this far, dude. Like, I don't know, in life, in the Marine Corps, like, and then you're like, you know what? It's probably better than I'm not in the Marine Corps still.
Well, I mean, that's the kind of shit that when I got out or when I was making my decision if I was going to get out, I'm like, dude, there's so many morons that are surviving out in the real world. Like, if they can do it, I can do it. I'm going to shoot my shot, and if my plans for what I want to do don't work out and I end up back in Lafayette, Indiana, working in a factory or something, then so be it. But, I know a lot of morons. Yeah, I was like, I know a lot of morons that just... they're surviving somehow, so if they can do it, I know I can do it. Plus, I'm a veteran, which, is just another thing to put on the resume. So if I can't do it, then what the fuck is wrong with me,
Yeah.
Kind of deal.
It's like I made it in the Marine Corps pretty good. I think I can make it in civilian life. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of got out, and I was just living pretty much. I was like, something's going to happen good eventually. And then finally I got like that little spark, and I was like, I'm gonna go do something with my life. I'm gonna do what that dude told me I was gonna do, and I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability.
Go be a fucking truck driver, man. Hey, that's like the isn't that like the biggest occupation in the U.S.? Like I think that makes up a majority of, or if it's not, it's one of the biggest occupations in the U.S. And
I could see it.
And the truck drivers have been what's keeping the country going during this whole crisis, during this whole COVID-19 pandemic bullshit. So
that thing's crazy too. All these places want me to wear a mask. I'm like, do you see this thing on my face?
Yeah.
It's not going to work with the mask how you think it's going to work.
Yeah, it's not going to help with this giant beard.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on like automated driving, like trucks, because I think trucks
impossible.
You think it's impossible?
Without the human factor behind one of these trucks, like I get cut off like 30 to 50 times a day. That's on a good day. And like when I was working for the line striping company, the Teslas, they're automatic driving.
Yeah.
And we're out there painting the road, and we got a crash truck set up, and we have signs marked, 5 miles back all the way up to where we're working at. But this Tesla came up 80 miles an hour, crashed right into the back of the truck.
No way.
Yep,
the one that has that big accordion-looking thing on the back of it?
Yep, the scorpion on it. Yep, hit it dead on. Dude was like, I looked down for 5 seconds messing with my radio.
Bullshit.
Yeah, Yeah, bullshit.
He was
And
probably sleeping.
yeah, he smashed into the back of the truck, and that's just a little ass car.
Yeah.
Now you put 80,000 pounds
But
moving down at highway speeds.
that stuff's all going to get better though. Like
Yeah, but
eventually they're going to have.
There's too much going on at different times.
Maybe I don't know. I think the biggest speed bump to having self-driving trucks is going to be the truckers union. You know what I'm saying? I think they're going to be the ones that are like, fuck no, like you're not giving our jobs up to automation. Because imagine if just Walmart, automated its entire fleet. That's like a huge amount of jobs right there. That's crazy. Like to even think about how many truck drivers they have. What's that?
They have their private fleet.
Yeah, exactly.
They make money doing that. But I mean, the thing is like, one of these trucks goes into a work zone. It's only going to take one time for an automated truck to crash, and everybody's going to be like, yeah, we're like, I got adaptive cruise control on this. Mm-hmm. So I have a system that will tell me the speed of the car in front of me and how far in between that car and me I am.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm not paying attention or something, or like someone cuts me off, it'll start to engage the brakes and slow me down. Yeah. So it'll take off cruise control and it'll slow me down without me doing anything.
Yeah.
But I'm always trying to watch so that way it doesn't do that.
But I mean, all that stuff's just going to get better and better, man. I rented a Nissan Rogue when I went home, and it was like one of the newer ones. And that thing almost drove itself. You just had to keep your hand on the steering wheel. It wouldn't do like stop and take a turn. But if you're on the freeway, you can set your speed, and it would maintain that speed, or let you come up onto someone and then maintain a safe distance behind them without ever. You don't have to touch anything.
That's cruise control.
Yeah, you just have to keep your hand on the wheel, and it would it would do curves, like it could do all this stuff. Like it was basically driving itself, besides stopping and doing like a right hand turn. It's weird, man.
I could see like little cars and trucks doing that, but I don't think it would be wise to do it for big trucks like this.
Yeah, the liability would be different.
Everybody's always trying to go too fast. Like maybe if it was like that, but there was still a person in here like being attentive, like, okay, bud, we're getting a little bit close there, but I'm going to go in the back and make myself peanut butter and jelly sandwich now.
That's probably how it'll start.
Yeah, I can see something like that, but I just think the human element on outside of the truck, like non-controllable stuff, it'll probably keep, like, trucks will probably keep improving until the point where it's like, well, the next thing to do is just remove the driver. You know what I'm saying? Like we've made it all the way up to this point of where the driver's just kind of in it to make sure. Even that, I think that by the time it gets there, they're going to be like, these trucks, they're diesel engines. We might as well just take those off, and we could fly them in these solar planes over there. Well,
they're gonna have battery-powered trucks or something, like a battery type, power generation. I guess I don't know. Have you seen their look? I saw a hybrid. It was either a hybrid or a full. I think it was full electric. Actually, it was a full electric like passenger plane, not like a jet, not like a 737, but like a 8-person, kind of like bigger than a Cessna, like full electric plane. I'm like, what? Like, what are we doing? Crazy. This is crazy.
We're going to make it one day. One day, no zero emissions.
I mean, yeah, but who cares about zero emissions if you're destroying like a part of Africa or whatever to dig up the minerals you need to make your batteries that you throw away every 2 or 3 years or however many years it is. Those batteries. Have you ever seen a picture of a battery mine? Like, look that up. Oh nope. Man, it fucks. It's horrible. The best thing you could do to save the environment, car-wise, is to buy a used car because the plastics are already in it. It's already all been made. Because even if you buy a brand new Prius, they still have to make the plastics. They have to make the upholstery. They have to make.
Hey, don't tell that Scandinavian chick that.
Oh,
what's
Greta?
Her name? Greta. Yeah, don't tell her that.
She'll scowl at me angrily.
She'll scowl really hard at you.
I wonder what Greta's thoughts are. No. Yeah, man. I don't know. It's a weird world we're moving into. And truck driving is like it's something that I keep hearing more and more, in the news and stuff. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. It's going to be interesting to see how the people that are in that job field kind of react to, some of the changes. Maybe it'll be like an airplane where, hey, we just kind of take off and land, and the plane doesn't. And I know it's not as simple as that for everybody that's flying a plane out there that may be listening. But
Probably
autopilot, you don't have straight up autopilot. You can't just let go of the controls of a truck. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
But at some point, maybe you will be,
Yeah,
and maybe that's where we stop.
It's going to be a fun to watch it evolve. It's going to evolve, and I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff that this truck does that I'm like, whew, didn't know it could do that. It's like I learned something new about the truck every day.
Yeah, and that's cool.
So it's like a fun little process.
Yeah,
but yeah, I could see them getting better. I drove a 2020. Right now I'm in a 2018. My trainer's truck was a 2020, and it had so much different shit on it. Like, it would maintain the lane.
Yeah. What's the your little crew cab back there? What all do you have in there? I see you have a bed. Do you have like a fridge, TV, like all that?
Oh yeah, I'll give you the little walk around. So I got let's see. I got like my fridge down here.
Okay.
Where I keep all the liquid cocaine and stuff, energy drinks.
There you go.
Got my little desk right here. Keeps all my money papers in here.
Yeah, track all your shit.
Yeah, I got storage up here. All my clothes and stuff. And then up inside the cab. See if I could turn this camera around. Oh, there. Yeah, I got that
J.
Kramer graphics, baby.
What?
That's J. Kramer graphics standing up there.
How long you had that for? That thing looks like you had it. It looks like it's holding up well.
It's been like 3 years.
Nice.
Well, 2 years. I think I was like one of the first to order.
You were one of the first. Shout out to Captain Van Horn, first ANGLICO. He was the very first order. I told him that the other day because he did a purchase. I was like, you were my very first purchase a couple years ago.
Captain Van Horn.
Van Horn, robot. He was Salt Delta. You remember him?
Yeah, I remember. He's one of the ones that tried to fight for me to come over to his team, and then Sims was like, "Nah, dog," and I was like, "Yeah, you're right. You absolutely right."
Yeah, he's out in Okie now. So solid living in the truck, though, huh?
Yeah, and on this company, they make you keep like your second bed. So
you have two beds.
Space, but yeah, there's a little top foldy bed up here.
Can you get a road buddy? Can you have a little dog with you like some guys do?
No, not here. They like to resell their trucks. They're like, absolutely not. This is the company I work for is actually owned by a colonel.
Well, really?
A retired colonel. Yeah, so he likes to run everything very militaristic, just like the Marine Corps.
Hey, man, he's got to protect his investment, right?
Yeah, I work for TMC, and like a lot of people refer to it as the Truckers Marine Corps, because he spends like millions of dollars on grass maintenance every year at all his terminals, and I got to witness. He walked. Some dude was walking on the grass, and just like that old first sergeant of that CO on 10th Marines was on N Street, was just like, "Get the fuck off my grass!"
What? I never heard that on N Street.
Bro, happened all the time.
I always thought that was an Okie thing.
Nah, that was in street. That was
half that grass was sand.
Yep. Don't walk on my rocks either. But this dude has he pays to get all the grass done at all his terminals and spots. And they're like, you walk on the grass, they'll fire you. Dude went walking across the grass. Buddy went out there screaming at him.
Got him.
Turn in your shit. You're done. You're done. I was like,
jeez. So,
wow.
It bled over to the real world. Dude, yeah. I kind of miss being out on N Street right there by the water, right there on River Road.
Yeah, it was perfect. You had like the river, and then you had like the pond right down the way.
Yeah, and there was always like an alligator head just floating in the pond.
Yeah. Did you ever go and try and catch him?
No.
We did.
I've eaten lunch out there and watched him.
Glow straps and fucking silkies going to try and catch the gator at midnight on a Sunday during a storm. No, it wasn't at all. Thank God PMO was doing their job that night.
We had Go ahead.
We were going.
Yeah.
PMO pulled up on us like, "What are y'all doing? We're gonna go catch the gator." No, you're not. Yeah, you're right. We're gonna go.
Yeah, you're probably gonna get eaten. Some of those things were big,
It
man.
wasn't that big. It wasn't that big.
Yeah. We had when I was at maintenance battalion, when I was still a mechanic, I was like a lance corporal. I remember coming in for, I think we were doing company PT one morning or something like that. And there was this like redneck dude that, he was he was a wrecker operator. And there was an alligator in the parking lot, like a baby one. It was like 4 feet, maybe 3 feet, probably not 4 feet. It was probably 3 feet. And he went and got some tape out of the shop and duct taped its mouth shut and threw it in the back of his pickup truck. And was like, yeah, we're going to, this will be good to eat later or something, like all country. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, did you really just throw an alligator in the back of your fucking country ass motherfuckers, man? Ugh.
That's the other thing I miss about the Marine Corps. It was such a diverse group of people.
Oh yeah, people from all over the country.
And everybody just treated everybody like shit, but it was all out of love.
True.
It was like the weirdest environment I've ever been in. But it was like, now I'm like looking at shit outside and I'm like, yeah, that's fucked up. I find it kind of funny, but he was actually fucked up.
Yeah.
But like it's kind of weird trying to find the balance.
Well, when you're on the outside, it is definitely a different world, and especially when you come from a job like ours, when you're like combat arms, like the whole role of your job is to like try to kill people, like either actually trying to smoke some dudes or planning to do it, getting everything ready to do it, doing it the most.
Kill them? You mean kill them with kindness? Because that's what we do.
Like being the most efficient way. We used to. I thought about. I was like, this is kind of weird that we're having this conversation, but. We started using in Afghanistan after my first mission I did a repeat mission. I talked to, I think it was Delara. He was up in Musa Kala with 3-2. And they were like, yeah, we've been shooting. So my first mission, I had a group of IED emplacers, hit them with the HIMARS, and then there were some dudes stumbling around afterwards. So they're like, hey, can you do a repeat? And I'm like, yeah, we'll do a repeat. And so we do a repeat, and then talking to him, he's like, dude, so what we do to mitigate that where these dudes are surviving is hit it with PD first and then tell the battery to hold the second shot by 5 seconds, and you always do an HEPD. PD VT. So you do the point detonating. Yeah, you're point detonating, so it hits, it explodes, and if it doesn't kill the dudes, then they stand up to run away, and then that variable timing, that air burst comes in and knocks those dudes down because now they're bigger targets. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. But then like afterwards, you're like, hold on, we're like really discussing the most efficient way to smoke some dudes. Like.
Yeah, dude. You don't remember sitting in the SAVT? We used to like sit in there and like after we ran through all of our basic missions, we'd be like, how the fuck would I destroy like this many people most effectively? And you're just in there fucking with like
you're working through
Pete, like. You're working like shake and bakes. You're like, let's see how this is gonna work.
You're working through the problem, and you become so desensitized to it, to some of this stuff, that I've definitely been having conversations and suddenly realized that everyone else around me feels super awkward. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to show a dude a video on Instagram, like some video, I don't remember. It might have been a strike video, but I had showed him one previously. And he's like, this isn't going to be another video of somebody getting killed, right? And I'm like, oh. And I'm like, wow, now I suddenly feel so self-aware and awkward. Like
it's like, yeah, you're so taken out of like.
I didn't think it was a big deal because it was an IR video and it doesn't, like, you can't really see anything.
I thought you were going to high-five me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, and you don't like glorify it, but you like, I mean, you kind of, I mean, I'm not saddened by seeing an IED emplacer get smoked. You know what I'm saying? But I guess I don't seek it out. I don't know, man. It's just weird.
So what'd you do in the Marine Corps?
Yeah.
And then you're like, you were a JTAC. I was a FO. It was like, all right, that's what I did. And then they're like, well, can you explain to me like what you did?
They have no idea what that means. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah. So pretty much we would go out, and when we get shot at, I'd call in artillery strikes, blow people up. Or I'd talk an aircraft onto a target, and it would come through and blow shit up. And they're like, so you just dealt with a lot of blowing shit up, huh?
Blowing shit up. That's what I tell people. I'm like, I used to blow shit up and then like conduct my own air show. Like, hey, F-18, fly from here to here at this altitude, at this speed. Like, I don't know. It's just a different world for sure. And the thing is most civilians think that every dude they talk to who's been in combat, every military dude they've talked to who's been in combat, no matter the branch, no matter the job.
That talk to them is like, every military dude that talks to them is probably like, yeah, we went to combat, but they're like a fucking cook.
Well,
it's like,
you have that, and then you have Hollywood that makes it look like dudes are just basically marching around and being in combat constantly. If they're not in combat, then they're marching around, saluting and doing stupid shit.
Yeah, I've been around it a lot where people like they'll tell this group that they were in combat, and then like you come in and then you're just like sitting there like, wow, dude.
Yeah.
That sounds fucking awesome. Like, what was that like? And then they're like, yeah, it's not a big deal. Oh.
Yeah. Well, two things. One, I had a Navy guy do that while I was still in. He was like, yeah, I was in the Navy. I did this and this. And we were at a mutual friend's house at a party. And I was on leave, so I had like a beard and shit. And he was just like, yeah, I did, I was on, he was on like a supply ship too. It wasn't even like a destroyer or something cool. And he's like, so what do you do? I was like, I'm in the Marines. He's like, you were in the Marines? I was like, no, I'm in the Marines. I was like, I know I got like a beard going on. I'm just, I'm on leave right now. And he just kind of shut up. But he was that guy at the party in Indiana who was just like, yeah, look at me, veteran. Like he had this like stupid vet shirt on and like the vet hat. Yeah. Like, I'm a veteran. Everyone.
And that's what I'm like, does that like get you like some undisclosed amount of like, you gotta be slaying it, dude. Like
maybe.
No? Like when you leave the party, everybody's just like, God damn, that dude was a douche.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, man. They're like.
And that's not discounting his service or whatever, but don't be a douchebag about it,
Yeah, don't blow it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a SEAL team. Like, no, you weren't. No, you weren't.
Dude, when I was in Iraq in 2009, I was a mechanic. We weren't doing shit. I mean, we were working and shit. We'd get mortared every once in a while, but nothing crazy. And we had this reservist kid that was with us, and I've talked about it before on the show, where he and I almost got into a fist fight, and I ended up getting a good conduct medal, and he got NJP'd because the whole situation was super fucked up. But he
got you, bitch.
But we were in TQ Iraq. We had a PX, we had a green bean coffee. Like we had a shitty little PX. It wasn't nowhere near like being on like Leatherneck or something like that. It'd be like a worse version of Dwyer if you ever made it there.
Yep.
So it was like Dwyer. You know how Dwyer is not great, but it's not bad. It's like worse than Dwyer, but it's not. Yeah.
You like that banana nectar drink that everybody loved for some reason?
I don't know why people like that drink, but I know what you're talking about.
I would drink it,
but I didn't like it. This kid was writing his girlfriend back home, talking about how he was in combat and how he was carrying his dead buddies off the battlefield and like all this shit. And this chick obviously reached out to another female whose boyfriend or husband or whatever was in that unit, in our unit, and was like, he's telling me all this stuff. Like, what's going on? So now they think one of them's lying. So they're like hitting him up, like, are you guys in crazy combat? And like, no, what are you talking about? Like, we're in TQ, Iraq, 2009. Like, there's not much going on here. And it comes to find out this dude is just riding home and telling all these, like, glory hound war stories about all this shit he's doing. And in reality, he's barely good enough to be a fucking mechanic in the Marine Corps. And all he does, is catch a counseling, like, twice a week from somebody because he's a fucking idiot. So it's like those guys, like, it doesn't surprise me when they get out and they do stolen valor and other bullshit, like churching up their own service.
My favorite memes is like Keanu Reeves just sitting there. It's like when you see stolen valor, but you just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And it's like my sister will tag me in like all these dudes that like I grew up with. Like they went to the Navy or the Army and they have all these fucking crazy like stories and shit. And she tags me in them and I'm like,
cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome of you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah. Good job, man. And that's that like our passive aggressive attitude towards it is why a lot of people don't like talking to anybody when they're veterans too, though. Just because
it's always the big dick game.
Oh, always. That's why.
And
That's
it's
why.
like,
That's
I
why
get it,
people
dude.
that had never really done much didn't like wearing Chucks on Fridays. You know, when they were doing Chuck Fridays, we had to wear your Charlie uniform. Nobody wanted to show the ribbons where they hadn't deployed yet or something like that.
But I remember, I would when I was out in Oki on the UDP, I did corporal's course out there, and we did it right there at the Palms, which is on Camp Hanson, and it's like their little bar area.
Yeah.
And did our little, like, what are those things called? Like when you graduate,
Oh, like graduation
high
ceremony.
school. Yeah, the little ceremony. And we came back out, and there was a bunch of like grunts that were on the Mew, and they were all over there like, "Man, fuck you, Pogues!" Like trying to start something. And then they're like, "Oh my God, hey, where'd you get your car at?" I'm like, "Oh, over here." Like, "Oh man, that's so cool, man. Come have a drink with us." I was like, "Oh, where'd y'all deploy to?" And they're like, "Well, I mean, this is our first deployment."
We're in
And I was
Okie.
like, this isn't a deployment, bud. This is not a
Yeah,
deployment."
it is. Don't
They're
be
like,
hating. It's not their combat deployment, though.
yeah, but I mean, for a grunt to say that to him, it's just like the
Oh,
same
yeah.
punch in the dick as
Well,
them walking around like poke,
yeah,
poke,
I was going to
poke,
say after they
poke.
called you a Pogue, then, usually, yeah, that's the kind of guy that would do it, though. Someone that's on their first deployment or some boot. They don't know anything. The more senior guys get it. They're like, oh, you're the fire support guy? Oh, you're the JTAC? They're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, let's be friends, Like, they get it. They understand that
You're gonna do some cool
you're
shit.
yeah, you're doing, like, cool shit and you have an important job, Like, I don't know. You call me a Pogue, but then when your ass is shot and you need a medevac chopper to land, what do you call me
Yeah.
then? What do you call me then?
Like, we're pinned down. Like, can you call in for some fucking fire support or something? I'm like, no, y'all told me to say it in color. Remember?
What you want some Pogues to come save you? Is that what you said? You want
Just
some air wing
kidding.
Pogues?
I already sent it up. It's coming in now.
I
Should
dropped
be
the
here in
pry.
30 seconds. Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah, man. The Marine Corps is such a good time for shit like that. Just giving each other shit constantly. It keeps you young too because you're around young people constantly. You're getting a constant influx of 18 to 22-year-olds. So it's like.
Yep. And all of them are expected to go down range and fucking do war.
Yeah.
That's like the craziest fucking thing.
Yeah.
I was just training this kid 2 months ago, and he's dumb as a box of rocks. Now he's still dumb as a box of rocks, but he can go kill people.
That's why you have to, you have to be serious and take it seriously, the training that you give your guys and understand like why you're doing it. That's my biggest beef, and it sucks. I mean, it's one of those things like there's less guys going to Afghanistan and stuff like that. Less guys seeing combat now because of the wars are all pretty much wound down. And because of that experience that guys like us have gotten that we leave with, those weird little things that you learn, that's not part of doctrine or theory that's been, whatever. It's like the stuff that you actually know, why you carry this many magazines, why you carry, tourniquets in your, whatever arm and
everywhere you can reach.
Yeah, like it's just different things, and it comes with a story too. A lot of times a lesson comes with a story. So when you're like the sergeant or your staff sergeant or a gunny, and you're like, hey, Lance Corporal, you keep your tourniquet here because of this, and you tell them why. And, it hits home a little bit different, I think, than when a guy that hasn't gotten to do a combat deployment, no fault of their own, turns around and tries to teach a lesson. And it's like, how do you know? You've never even been there, Like, yeah. I mean, in my own, that's how I was as a junior guy. Like, you're trying to teach me what it's supposed to be like, and you've never even experienced it yourself. Like,
yeah, I always had that sergeant that had been there, done that. And then I had the sergeant that was like a new sergeant that never done it. And then like you could tell when this one's getting out of line because this one's like, hey, come here. And like, got me. But I'm still gonna listen though.
Yeah. Dude, I had a shitty learning curve, man. Being a lap mover and coming over to 10th Marines as a 6'1", like, I mean, I showed up and I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to plot on a map. I didn't do anything because they send you to the unit before you even go to MOS school. And being there for 9 months, just doing hands-on training, I went from not knowing anything to like being pretty capable based, because of guys like Juan DeLara and Gunnery Sergeant Klein, or Master Sergeant Klein now, or maybe retired Klein now. But, he was my first chief, and just going to the field with dudes like that. And Jones was my radio operator. He was a Native American dude, Jared Jones, who was at 210, and he was our comm chief and fucking super smart, until I got to ANGLICO. That was probably the best radio operator I worked with, or he was definitely the best radio operator I worked with. Great comm chief, knew how to lead guys. Aguayo was my other comm dude, You know, we just had good dudes, a lot of good FOs. Guys came back from the Marja, the Marja Marines came back, and guys that were with 3-6 on that deployment. So you had like Her came back. You know, he was a good dude that had a lot of good resources, smart guy. I just talked to him the other day, actually. He's out as well. But, you know, for me as a lap mover mechanic coming over there, it was, I mean, I felt like super nervous, you know, because I had no idea. You got the experience of being a junior Marine Lance Corporal, getting beat up, doing radio watch, understanding the comms, all that. I didn't even know how to fucking read a map. And it was like, hey, you're going to help be the A chief while you're learning until you go to MOS school. And I'm like, I don't even know what you want me to tell people what to do? I don't even know what to do.
Well, I mean,
but
at the same time, you came into it like, and you had some age, so you had like some sort of wisdom about you. I was just this 18-year-old kid out there, you know, running an OP. They're like, yeah, let's see how you do today. The OP's yours, so I gotta go do all this shit. And I'm like, oh fuck, like, but you know, I just hit it and run.
Yeah,
let go and let God. Jesus take the wheel.
It's a thing too, man. The military forces. That's why a lot of military people are really highly productive citizens when they get out, because it forces you to take on responsibilities that normally someone your age would never be, never have that kind of responsibility. Like as an 18-year-old 0861, you're literally radioing back to people that are shooting 100-pound high explosive rounds through the air, and you're telling them where to do it safely. You know what I'm saying? Like, which sounds like, we make it sound like it's easy, and it is pretty easy, when you do it, when you're used to it. But when you're like,
it's like riding a bike.
Yeah, when you're uninitiated and you're just looking on the outside, looking in, you're like, holy shit! Like, or if you're the guy processing
what the fuck did
it,
you just tell him?
Yeah, it's
transmission. This and the.
Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility, man. It's just something that I think some guys take for granted, the stuff that they did in the military. And I think some people realize that when they get out and they start seeing how incapable their peers are, the ones that never served or anything like that. And that's not everybody, obviously, but
I am definitely guilty of just taking everything in the Marine Corps for granted. I was just living until the weekend so I can go get fucked up again.
That's how a lot of people are.
That's how it was like that from 10th Marines on, and I don't know how I made it as long as I did, but
yeah.
I did.
Some people are like that, man, and then you just shine when you're out in the field, Like, I'm not a garrison, people aren't garrison Marines or field Marines, but it is what it is. But, hey, man, I know it's 11 o'clock there, and you got to drive tomorrow, so I appreciate you coming on the show. We're at almost 2 hours. I usually let people, if you want to throw your social media names out there, or if there's any kind of organizations that you want to, like, throw a shout-out to or anything like that, this is kind of your time to do it.
I mean, I could buy my mixtape. I'm super serious rapper. But I'm just
dropping
kidding.
Fire over here.
Facebook is really it. Just my name, Sean O'Brien.
Yeah.
If you want to be friends or whatever.
Yeah, you want to learn about the truck driving field?
Cool. Yeah, if you got any questions, y'all could reach out to me.
Yeah, if anybody has questions and they can't find you, they can hit me up and I'll put the word out, or I'll give them your contact info.
Everything. On my Snapchat or phone number or whatever.
For sure,
I'm not shy.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and giving a glimpse behind a little peek behind the curtain of Sean O'Brien and his life in the Marine Corps.
It was sweet. I wish I could go back sometimes.
We all do, man. I'd love to go to the OP. Go get on the OP one more time. Do one more call for fire. One more 9-line.
Hey, let's go.
Which
one we going to?
Yeah. All right. Well, if anybody has any questions for him, hit me up at jkramergraphics.com, or jkramergraphics is my Instagram, and or Former Action Guys is my other Instagram. And if not, then I hope you guys enjoyed the show and have a good week.